The phone rings just past midnight. Ethan Cole's hands tremble before he even picks it up, as if his body already knows who's waiting on the other side. 20 years behind bars taught him to fear silence more than screams. "Hello?" His voice cracks. A pause. "Then, you sound older," says a calm, deep voice, slow and smiling. "Guess prison?" Does that to a man. Ethan freezes. He knows that voice. He heard it once, echoing through a courtroom. Recorded evidence of a stranger who'd never been caught. "Who is this?" he asks, but he already knows. "Russell Dean," the voice answers. "The one who killed Claire." The line hums. Ethan's throat tightens. The name claws through time. "Why now?" he whispers. Russell chuckles, low and tired. "Because I heard they finally let you out. Thought you deserved the truth." The call doesn't end. The hum grows louder, like breathing, like someone's still there. "Ethan," Russell says, "you ever wonder why it was so easy to blame you?" Morning light doesn't bring peace. Ethan sits by the same window, still dressed from last night. The phone lies on the table, unplugged, as if it were a weapon. Every sound. The hum of the fridge, the creak of the floorboards, makes him flinch. He replays the voice in his head. Russell Dean. The real killer. The one who ended Claire's life, and somehow his. Yet something about that call felt wrong. Too personal, too timed. Ethan opens his old case files spread across the bed, staring at photos he's spent 2 decades trying to forget. Claire's smiling face, the blood on her bedroom floor, and one small detail. The phone cord severed. A cold thought slithers in. How did Russell know that? It was never in the reports. Ethan drives to the police station that morning, unable to resist the pull of old ghosts. The same brick walls, the same echoing hallways. He finds Detective Marla Jennings waiting by the front desk. Older, heavier, gray hair tied back, her eyes dim but sharp as ever. She looks at him like she's staring into the past. "He called me," Ethan says, voice low. Marla freezes, then looks away. "Don't start this again," she mutters. But Ethan's tone is pleading. He knew things only Claire's killer would know. For a moment, her hand tightens on her coffee cup. "Then why call you?" she says quietly. Maybe he's not the only one who wants to talk. That night, Ethan listens to the voicemail again. The recording he made of Russell's call. But there's something else under the killer's voice. A faint click, like a line being tapped. He boosts the volume, heart racing. Then, a whisper. Female, distant, almost inaudible. He's still lying. Ethan's blood runs cold. Claire's voice. He slams the laptop shut. The motel lights flicker. In the darkness, he hears the fridge hum again. No, not the fridge. A second phone, buried under his clothes, starts to ring. He answers without thinking. "Hello?" Silence. Then, breathing. Wet. Human. Slow. "Ethan." The voice says softly, but it's not Russell this time. It's Claire. "You never told them what you saw that night." The call ends abruptly. Ethan stares at the black screen, his reflection staring back. Eyes hollow. Trembling. For the first time, he wonders if prison was safer. Because now, the ghosts can reach him. Ethan doesn't sleep. The second phone lies on the table like an unexploded bomb. Every hour he checks the call log, but there's no number, no trace. By dawn, he's convinced he imagined it, until he notices the voicemail notification. His thumb hesitates before pressing play. It's static at first, then the faint sound of dripping water. A woman's voice whispers, "It's still under the floor." Ethan's breath catches. Claire's apartment had hardwood floors, the ones that were torn up during the investigation. He drives there before the sun rises, the roads empty, the world gray. The building's abandoned now, windows boarded, but he still knows which one was hers. He stands outside, the wind hollow in his ears, and for the first time in 20 years, he's afraid of remembering. The door isn't locked. The hinges scream when he pushes it open. Dust fills the air like breath from a sleeping house. Claire's apartment hasn't changed much. Faded wallpaper, shattered mirror, a mattress in the corner. He kneels near the floor where the blood once pooled, his fingers tracing the uneven planks. Then he feels it, a loose board. Beneath it, a folded photograph edges stained brown. It's him and Claire, smiling at a fairground, arms wrapped around each other. But someone has drawn an X across his face in red ink. Ethan's pulse pounds. On the back, faint words. She wasn't the first. Ethan drives to the state prison where Russell Dean is held. The guards remember his name before he even introduces himself. News travels fast when a freedman visits a killer. Inside, the visiting area hums with fluorescent light. Russell looks different in person. Older, thinner, eyes colder than the recording. "You came?" Russell says with a small grin. "Good. I wanted you to see me." Ethan sits across from him, trembling. "Why now?" Russell leans forward, voice lowering to a hiss. "Because she's talking to both of us." The silence that follows feels alive, vibrating through the glass. That night, Ethan sits in his car outside the old police precinct. Through the windshield, he sees Detective Marla Jennings exiting the building, cigarette glowing between her fingers. He hesitates, then steps out. "You knew he'd call," Ethan says quietly. Marla exhales smoke, not denying it. "We never closed it right," she murmurs. "Too many eyes wanted it done." Her gaze softens. "But if you're hearing her, maybe she's not done with us either." For a moment, the world stills. Then she says, "There's something buried with her file. I never could open it." Back in his motel room, Ethan spreads the recovered photograph, the voicemail recording, and his old case file across the bed. A pattern begins to form. Names, dates, faces. Victims before Claire, all near the same town. Each one tied to people who testified against him. He realizes with growing horror that Russell's call wasn't confession. It was invitation. The motel lights flicker once, twice, then die. In the reflection of the window behind him, a faint figure moves, a woman's silhouette with auburn hair. And from the darkness, her voice again, clearer now. "You never stopped it, Ethan. You just changed the end." Ethan doesn't remember falling asleep, only waking to the sound of tapping. At first, is rhythmic, gentle, then faster. He opens his eyes to find words scratched into the window condensation. "Help her." He stumbles back, heartbeat pounding, breath fogging the glass. But when he wipes it clean, the letters vanish. Panic grips him as he turns, every photo on the wall now flipped face down. His trembling fingers touch one, and a drop of water lands on his hand. The ceiling above him drips, leaving dark stains. Water. He grabs his coat and runs outside, realizing the sound isn't rain. It's coming from the car parked across the lot. Inside, the trunk is slightly open. Inside the trunk, wrapped in a tarp, lies an old tape recorder. Ethan lifts it with shaking hands, pressing play. A hiss, then a voice, Russell Dean's, but older, raspier. "They wanted you blamed. You were easy." Then another voice joins in. A woman's slurred but distinct. "Marla, no one will believe him," she says on the tape. Ethan freezes, bile rising in his throat. The background noise. Dripping footsteps. A door creaking. Sounds unmistakably like the night of Claire's murder. He replays the moment again and again, desperate to believe it's fake. But then the faintest whisper overlays them both. He's listening. Ethan confronts Marla at her home that evening. The old detective's house smells of whiskey and rain. She looks smaller now, sunken in her chair, surrounded by boxes of unsolved case files. "You recorded that night," Ethan says, voice trembling. Marla doesn't deny it. They told me to, she whispers. They said you were the right face for the news. Her eyes glisten. But Claire, she found out. She was going to tell. Ethan's rage softens into confusion. So you let her die. Marla shakes her head slowly, tears sliding down her worn cheeks. No, she says. I tried to stop it, but Russell wasn't the only one in that room. Marla leads Ethan to the evidence locker she once guarded. The room smells of dust and cold metal. She fumbles with old keys, until one finally turns. Inside are boxes labeled with numbers and names he recognizes, every victim tied to the same pattern. They called it clean up, she mutters. You were supposed to be the ending? Ethan flips through photos. Claire, smiling in front of their old house. Another woman in the same pose. Who was she? Ethan asks. Marla's lips tremble. The first one. My sister. The box falls from her hands, scattering photos across the floor like ghosts freed from silence. As they gather the files, a sound breaks the silence, a low static hum from the intercom above. Then a voice, Russell Dean. You found her box. Good. Ethan looks up, heart racing. You're not in prison, he whispers. The intercom crackles. You still don't get it. You freed me. The lights cut out. In the pitch black, Marla screams and the sound of metal scraping against concrete fills the air. Ethan's flashlight flickers to life just in time to see the locker door slam shut from the inside. Marla trapped, pounding, her voice echoing. He's not done with you! Ethan runs into the night, the echo of Marla's screams still pounding in his ears. The police station lights are dark now, windows shattered, doors hanging open. He doesn't look back. He knows no one will believe him. Rain pours as he drives through the back roads, headlights slicing through mist. On the passenger seat, one of the scattered photos flutters. A crime scene, Claire's apartment, but there's something new in the corner. A reflection in the mirror. His own face, 20 years younger, standing behind her. His grip tightens on the wheel. That reflection wasn't in the original file. Someone has changed the evidence. Or worse, someone was in the room that night. He reaches Claire's old family cabin at the edge of the woods, a place they once visited in happier days. The air inside smells of cedar and dust, the memories clinging like cobwebs. On the fireplace mantel, he finds a photo of Claire and a small locked box engraved with her initials. Inside is a cassette labeled Truth. When he plays it, her voice fills the cabin, alive, desperate. If you're hearing this, I didn't kill myself. They made it look that way. Ethan's throat tightens as static swallows her words, replaced by a man's laughter. Russell's voice cuts through. She tried to tell you, Ethan. You were supposed to stop her. The cassette ends with coordinates scrawled on the label. Ethan follows them deep into the woods. The ground squelches underfoot, moonlight filtering through tangled branches. Finally, he reaches a clearing. Freshly turned earth marked by a single wooden cross. Kneeling, he digs with bare hands until something hard clinks beneath the soil. A metal box. Inside are rolls of film, undeveloped. His fingers shake as he lifts one to the light. Faint silhouettes appear. Russell Dean standing beside a young woman smiling for the camera. But not Claire, another victim. The one before her. And in the background, blurred but visible, Ethan develops the film at a 24-hour photo shop in town. The clerk silent as each image emerges. He spreads them across the counter, heart racing. Every photo shows Russell and Marla together, standing over bodies, their faces calm, clinical. One frame stops him cold. Claire's lifeless body on the floor, her eyes open and Marla's reflection in the mirror behind her. Holding the camera, Ethan's mind fractures under the weight of truth. Claire hadn't been a random victim. She was the last witness. Marla and Russell didn't frame him. They used him. The perfect decoy to bury their crimes under justice's mask. Back at the motel, Ethan loads his revolver, the one kept locked in a drawer since his release. He knows where to go now. As he slips the gun into his jacket, his phone buzzes. A video message. Unmarked. He opens it. The screen flickers, showing Marla tied to a chair in a dark room, her face bloodied, eyes wild. Russell's voice hums through the speakers. Told you she'd talk. Ethan stares in silence, rage and fear twisting together. Behind Marla, on a peeling wall, words are scrawled in blood. Come home! Ethan realizes where she is. It's the old police evidence room, the same one where he left her scream. The storm hasn't stopped when Ethan reaches the police station. The building stands hollow, stripped of power, its halls echoing like a mausoleum. Water drips from the ceiling, puddling across the tiled floor. He moves through the corridors with gun in hand, flashlights slicing through darkness. At the end of the hallway, the evidence room door stands open. Inside, the faint buzz of an old fluorescent light flickers above a chair, and in it, Detective Marla Jennings. Her head droops forward, rope marks visible on her wrists. Oh, hush, here, she whispers before he can speak. He never left. A shadow moves behind her. The door slams shut. Russell's voice slithers through the intercom again, low and amused. I told you I was waiting for you, Ethan. You made me. The sound of static and laughter fills the air. Ethan spins, the beam catching movement. Russell, standing in the far corner, somehow free, his orange jumpsuit streaked with mud. You should have left it buried, Russell hisses, stepping closer. You needed a monster. So I became one. Ethan raises the gun, hands shaking. Why, Claire, he shouts. Russell grins, teeth white against the dark. Because she found what you wouldn't. The room hums. The lights flicker, and somewhere above, the ceiling groans like the building itself is breathing. Ethan fires once. The bullet shatters glass in silence. But when the light steadies, Russell's gone. Only Marla's body remains in the chair, limp now, head tilted at an unnatural angle. Ethan steps forward slowly, trembling. On the table beside her, a photograph waits. One of him, hand on Claire's shoulder, smiling. But he remembers that night differently. He never took that photo. His knees buckle. Then, through the static-filled intercom, Claire's voice returns. You did see me, she whispers, and you let it happen. The flashlight dies. In the pitch black, Ethan hears footsteps circling him, slow and deliberate. The air grows heavy, saturated with the metallic scent of rain and blood. Ethan backs into the hallway, pulse hammering. Every door he passes swings open on its own. Offices, cells, evidence lockers, all revealing fragments of his past. Courtrooms, prison walls, Claire's bedroom, replayed in impossible flashes. The lights pulse with each heartbeat. He stumbles into the main lobby where the phone begins to ring, the same low hum from the first night. He answers. You can stop it, Claire's voice whispers, but only if you remember. The phone's reflection shows her face beside his, both staring into each other's eyes, trapped in the same trembling frame. Ethan follows the echo of her voice to the basement, where the original evidence vault stands half-submerged. Inside, he finds a mirror propped against the far wall. Claire's mirror from the crime scene. The surface ripples like water. As he steps closer, his reflection shifts. First himself, then Russell, then Claire. You always knew, her voice whispers. You just couldn't face it. He drops the gun, falling to his knees. The mirror shudders, and from its depths a hand reaches toward him, pale, familiar. He touches it, and in a blinding flash, everything goes silent. When the light fades, the mirror shows only one figure inside. Ethan, smiling faintly behind the glass. 2 weeks after the storm, the old police station stands silent beneath a washed-out sky. Yellow tape flutters at the doorway. Puddles shimmer where the flood receded. Detectives move through corridors lined with collapsed ceiling tiles and ruined files. Among them, a single mirror fragment rests on the floor, its surface faintly reflecting the empty hallway. No trace of Ethan Cole or Detective Marla Jennings is found, only a cassette sealed in a plastic bag labeled Truth. Final. The hum of broken lights fills the silence like breath in a grave. Detective Harris returns to her car, recorder clicking on. Her notes recount missing officers, sealed files, and a retired coroner who refuses to talk. Every lead traces back to the same names: Marla Jennings and Ethan Cole. At headquarters, she spreads the timeline across a whiteboard. 20 years of evidence, one vanishing truth. The longer she studies it, the clearer it becomes. The original case was rewritten, piece by piece, until only guilt remained. Late at night, Harris listens to Ethan's final cassette through old headphones. Water noise distorts his words, yet his tone is calm. The truth isn't out there. It's inside what they built. She rewinds, replaying the phrase again and again. In the background of the recording, faint footsteps echo, followed by a low metallic creak. Perhaps the same basement door described in the files. Harris writes 2 words in her notebook: find the vault. Morning brings a breakthrough. Harris locates undeveloped negatives sealed in an unlabeled envelope. When processed, they reveal subtle distortions. Faces duplicated, reflections misaligned, angles impossible for a single camera. Someone had retouched official evidence long after conviction. Her chest tightens as she realizes the manipulation wasn't only cover-up, it was message. Each photo hides the outline of the same emblem burned into the walls of the basement vault. A mirror within a circle. That evening, Harris visits Ethan's last motel. Dust coats the furniture. The smell of damp wood lingers. She arranges his recovered files across the bed, tracing his handwriting. When she lifts her gaze, the wall mirror opposite her flickers. The reflection a second behind. Her heart stops. For an instant, another figure stands beside her in the glass, features indistinct but unmistakably male. The light bulb flickers out and the faint whisper she thought she imagined on the tape returns. It's still under the floor. A month later, the town has almost forgotten. Detective Lena Harris sits before a review board, summarizing her report. No bodies, no suspect, inconclusive evidence. Yet her words falter. Something about Ethan Cole's final message lingers like static in her mind. That night, alone in her office, she rereads the line etched into one recovered photo. Truth hides in the reflection. When she tilts the image under lamplight, faint script appears across the gloss, an address she doesn't recognize. She takes her coat and leaves without turning off the light. The address leads Harris to an abandoned storage facility outside town. Rows of rusted units stretch beneath a flat gray sky. Inside Unit 17, she finds shelves stacked with identical mirrors, each tagged with case numbers from cold files long closed. When she shines her flashlight across them, dozens of her reflections stare back, some moving out of sync. The air thickens, humming with electrical tension. A faint voice through her radio whispers, "He's still watching." Among the mirrors, Harris discovers a sealed envelope marked with Ethan Cole's handwriting. Inside, a single photo of Claire Matthews standing beside a mirror, identical to the ones around her, and a note reading, "If you can see me, it means he didn't win." Harris lowers the picture, heart pounding. In the nearest reflection, Claire's faint outline appears behind her, smiling sadly. Harris whispers, "What did they do to you?" The reflection mouths an answer she can't hear, then fades as her flashlight sputters out. Harris returns to headquarters and loads the last recovered tape. It begins with static, then Ethan's voice. Steady, reflective. If you hear this, I found peace. Don't look for me. Just make them listen. A pause, then the sound of water and wind. She exhales slowly, realizing he might have chosen disappearance over vengeance. As she files her final report, she marks the case closed, but beneath the form she writes one sentence only. She will read. He proved his innocence. Weeks later, the storage facility is demolished. Bulldozers level the units, crushing glass into glittering dust. In the last wide shot, one shard catches sunlight just before it's buried. Within its fleeting reflection stands Ethan Cole, calm, older, expression unreadable. The light flares, and he's gone. The camera lingers on the ground where the mirror fragment lies half covered by soil, still reflecting sky and clouds moving gently above, as if the truth, at last, is resting.